Good morning, everybody. I'm doing a loop here in the Smokies, parked at the Clingmans Dome parking lot, and I'm hiking down the Forney Ridge Trail. Going to scout out the old steam locomotive, which we missed the last time we were here. I'm doing a solo trip here today, and I'm going to go and take Springhouse Branch off of Forney Ridge, pass by where I was on the Benton Mackay Trail when I got off early. Campsite 64, and I'm moving on to spend the night at campsite 63, and then I'm going to come up the Noland Divide trail and do an 18-mile loop. So I'm going to show you guys everything that I can show you, and it's going to be a good trip. Following the trail to the old locomotive, you can see it's pretty well established. It's an old railroad grade, and it parallels Forney Creek. It's just above it on the ridge. Going downhill now. It's only supposed to be 0.3 of a mile one way, so I should be close to it by now. Starting to see some parts now. Shouldn't be too much longer. I found it. It was 0.5 of a mile down the trail, which started right off the Forney Creek Trail, which was just 1/10 of a mile at the intersection between Forney Creek and Forney Ridge Trails. I'm going to show you around. It's not often you find something like this. There's a lot of old railroad grades in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, but you don't always find the remains of an old steam locomotive. Solid. My guess is it would be a better part of 100 years old. I'll have to find out and put it in the video description. That's quite a find. It was worth it to come down though, because it wasn't a bad hike to get to. It wasn't overgrown like people were saying. Even though it's July, trail was pretty moderate and had some ferns and some understory, but for the most part you're walking through a pine forest, so it's not too bad, and almost looks like it's a maintained trail because there's no deadfall or anything impeding the path. So here's the view from Andrews Bald. All right, I'm at the trail intersection. I'm going to take the Springhouse Branch Trail to Noland Creek Trail. Okay, folks, there's a big old bear in front of me. See how well camouflaged he is? I startled him on a trail, and he took off running up the hill, but he didn't make it that far. Oh, there he goes. You don't bother me, I won't bother you, buddy. Look what I stumbled upon. An old chimney just up the hill from the trail. Saw a little side trail and I followed it. And it took me to this. Always cool to find something like that. All right, I'm coming back to campsite 64. The last time I was in the Smokies was when I spent the night here on the Benton Mackay Trail, because the Noland Creek Trail is also part of the Benton Mackay Trail. So it's bringing back some good memories. Even though it was a trip didn't have everything I expected, it was still a good experience. That was just 2 months ago. This is where I camped, right up here. I met a couple on Forney Ridge. They were coming back from this campsite. They were doing roughly the same loop I'm doing. Of course, I'm doing it in the reverse direction. Yep, my tent was right there. And I ate dinner up there. This is a really nice campsite. Thought about bringing some friends back here. So maybe I'll do that one day. All right, so with this trip, I get to continue on the Benton MacKay where I left off last time for at least several miles. I think it's about 5 miles before I get on the Noland Divide trail to close out this loop. So let's get trekking to campsite 63. Check out this old foundation. All right, this is it. Campsite 63, Jerry Flats, and I'm home for the night. I predicted it well. I thought it would be about 4 o'clock by the time I got here, and sure enough, it's just before 4. So it's a pretty nice, wide open campsite. No picnic tables though, like the other one, 64, Mill Creek. There's the bear cables. So, the creek is right behind me, so I'm gonna make the best of a good night and leave here in the morning. Talk to you later. All right, so it's 6:44. I had dinner and I'm just sitting around my campsite. The bugs are pretty bad. It's lower elevation here. It wasn't that bad at campsite 64 back in May, but it was earlier in the year. So the bugs are something you got to deal with, low elevation in the Smokies, but try to get a fire going. Everything was too damp from recent rains, so I aborted the attempt. But there's where I had my dinner, where the kitchen is. I have firewood here. I didn't even have any fuel for the fire anyway. I just had my lighter and didn't bring anything, no fire starters or anything. So anyway, so much for that. I'm gonna show you over here. And again, there's the bear cables up there. So probably gonna turn in early tonight and get up real early tomorrow, because I have about 9 miles to get out of here with over 4,000 feet of elevation gain. That's just to the parking lot, or I mean just to the Clingmans Dome road. It's uphill from where the Noland Divide trail connects to the Clingmans Dome road. Then you got to go up the road, and that's uphill. Get back to the parking lot about a mile or so. Anyway, this is out back. Noland Creek. This will be a fisherman's dream campsite right here, because I saw some big ones in there. Right in this deep pool over here. I'll take you over to it. Yep, there were some big trout in that pool. I think I still see one. You see their shadow under the surface, and they were coming up to the surface for feeding. Next time, maybe bring my friends and we'll fish this and swim, because it's a pretty deep pool right there. So anyway, folks, if I don't say more tonight, I'm gonna say good night and hope for a restful night's sleep. Because like I said, that 4,000 feet elevation gain tomorrow is in like the last 4 or 5 miles, so most of it anyway. It's gonna be tough, but nothing I haven't done before. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the morning. All right, back on the trail again, 6 o'clock. Wanted to get on trail an hour ago, but decided to sleep a little bit. So I think I can make my destination up at Clingmans Dome parking lot by, I'm thinking it's gonna take me about 5 hours. So it's 9 miles with a lot of elevation gains, so I'll probably be slowed down, taking breaks, but I'm pretty confident I'll get there by 11. So we'll see how it goes. I knew it was gonna come up sooner or later. Time to cross a creek and attempt not to get my feet wet. Okay, so this is the Benton Mackay Trail, folks. So if you're interested in doing it in the summer, this is how overgrown it gets. It is thick. But for the most part, Noland Creek wasn't too bad. Just this section up here on the hill. So we're entering campsite 61, and it is closed due to bear activity. All these campsites on Noland Creek are pretty nice. Have to camp here one day when it's open. I like that. All right, so I reached the trail intersection, and the remainder of Noland Creek was getting steep. So now I'm gonna be on the Noland Divide trail going up to Clingmans Dome Road, and it's gonna get even steeper. Almost to Clingmans Dome Road, and I come upon this tower over here. All right, folks, so I've reached Clingmans Dome Road, and the GPS was right on the money when it came to the trail mileage that the sign had said. Turns out to be 3.7 miles is right. So I got another mile or so walking the road to get to the Clingmans Dome parking lot where my car is parked. And I'm gonna close this out saying that this was a good hike, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's interested in a good backpacking loop in the Smokies. Had a lot to see and a lot to offer. Like I said, Noland Creek would be a great place to go fishing if you have a fishing license and a fishing rod. So maybe on a future trip we'll do that. But this Noland Divide trail, it was 3.7 miles straight uphill. But honestly, it wasn't that bad. Part of it has to do with me getting out every week. So I kept myself in better shape. So I kept a steady pace and I hardly stopped. And I was actually walking pretty fast too, so I am perspiring, but it is a lot cooler up here, so it should be a pleasant reprieve. So I'm going to close it out saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys out here on the trail. And to think, I went down, lost 4,400 feet elevation, only to come back up and gain it all again. Back at the parking lot.